Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn about assessment in case of customs. See, when we talk about assessment in case of customs, the term assessment means to determine. Now this term assessment has been widened. It includes determination of value, determination of any classification, determination of origin, determination of any other factor which affects the custom duty payable. They have widened the scope so that assessment has much wider scope when the proper officer is assessing the duty or you self-assess the duty. Now, Section 17 of Customs Act 1962 deals with self-assessment. Self-assessment, I as an importer file a bill of entry for home consumption, it is assessed. At present, government is also moving towards faceless assessment where the assessment of that particular bill of entry can be done by any officer who is in any other place, not just at that particular custom port or airport. Now, it would all be done online. He would send you a query online, you would reply to it online, and he would pass a order online, which is order for clearance for home consumption. Say suppose he finds there is a short payment. If there is a short payment, in case he will intimate that short payment. If you agree, then you will pay that short payment amount and close the matter. If you don't agree, he will pass a speaking order. Plus, a new section has been introduced where custom officers also have the power to carry out any audit. That's a particular provision which can be exercised in any case. So the powers of audit are much wider at present. Thereafter, you have a very important discussion of section 18 that deals with provisional assessment. Now when we talk about provisional assessment, see what is the basic purpose of provisional assessment. When I am unable to determine the custom duty payable, I will go for provisional assessment. This is the normal rule. So under GST, when I am unable to determine my GST payable, I go for provisional assessment. But under customs, I as an importer can go for provisional assessment or officer can also provisionally assess the custom duty payable. There are 4 cases where officer can provisionally assess custom duty. And say suppose I want to clear for home consumption, then I will clear the goods for home consumption after paying that provisional assessment duty. And if a bond is required, then that bond will also be given. Say suppose I want to store the goods in the warehouse, then I have to file into bond bill of entry based on the provisionally assessed duty along with twice the duty amount as bond. Here the provision still deals with twice the duty amount under section 18. Then what would happen? Then I would submit all the documents to the proper officer. There is a time limit for that and proper officer has to pass an order. There is a time limit for that as well. Now once final assessment happens, see there can be 2 cases. 1, I have short paid duty. 2nd, I have excess paid duty. If I have short paid duty, in such cases, I will have to pay the duty along with 15% per annum interest from the first day of the month in which provisional assessment was done. Be very careful in this. Lot of times it's asked in the exam. First day of the month in which the provisional assessment was done. But when it comes to refund, I will get 6% per annum after the expiry of 3 months from the date of final assessment. After that, if there is still delay, then I will get interest at 6% per annum. If the goods are still in the warehouse, then what would happen? If the goods are still in the warehouse, then say suppose I have short assessed. In that case, I will have to give more bond. If there was an excess bond already given, then nothing is mentioned in the provision. Then that bond will continue as it is. Now let's see the timelines and let's see the cases where officer can go for provisional assessment. See this very carefully. Now, firstly, we will see the cases where provisional assessment can be done. The first case, when you see GST, for GST it's only one case, whenever I am unable to determine my GST payable. But in case of customs, first case is where importer is unable to determine custom duty payable And then you have proper officer. Proper officer can also go for provisional assessment. First, when he thinks a chemical or other test is necessary, or he thinks a further inquiry is to be made even when I have produced the documents, or a case where I have not produced the documents and he feels a further inquiry has to be carried out. So these are the cases where provisional assessment can be done. 4. I myself go for provisional assessment. Second, proper officer can go in case he thinks a chemical or other test is required. Third, further inquiry where documents are produced. Further inquiry where documents are not produced by me. And if I were to clear the goods for home consumption, in that case I will pay the custom duty and give a bond as required by proper officer. If I were to store the goods in the warehouse, then bond twice the duty amount. And how does the process look? Be very careful about the process. This is new process. Custom rules have been notified for this finalization of provisional assessment rules. What is the process? Proper officer will intimate me within 15 days saying that these are the documents which he requires. This is step 1. Second, importer has to submit all the documents within 1 month, plus one extension of 3 months, plus one more extension of 3 months. And what is the time limit for proper officer to pass the order? The time limit for proper officer to pass the order is 2 months plus one extension of 3 months. So from the day the time limit for submitting the documents expires, or I have submitted all the documents, from that time the time for proper officer starts. And for the proper officer, the time limit is 2 months plus an extension of 3 months is also permitted. Clear? This will quicken the process. In GST, what is the time limit? In GST, the time limit is 6 months plus 6 months plus another extension of 4 years. Total comes to 5 years. Clear with this process? Okay. Going to the last segment, final assessment order. See, if I have already cleared the goods for home consumption and I have made a excess payment, in such cases I am eligible for refund at interest 6% per annum after 3 months from the date of final assessment. Be very careful. Everywhere the law uses 3 months from the date of receipt of refund application. But here 3 months is from the date of final assessment. Okay. If there is a short payment made by me, in such cases I have to pay the difference amount along with interest at 15% per annum from the first day of the month in which provisional assessment was made. If the goods are still in warehouse, if I have given an excess bond, nothing is mentioned. If bond amount falls short, then I have to give bond twice the duty amount. Are you clear with this? Yes. So these were the cases. Then we moved on to what happens in such cases. Thereafter a process, and finally what happens once final assessment order is given. Yes. Clear with this? A very important discussion. See this entire chart once before your examination. See you in the next video.